So folks who are in ACIM gather, if you want to come over. I think probably everybody's here. So anyway, welcome everyone to our beautiful weekly Saturday morning gathering. And this is really, it's kind of like a Sabbath, because Saturday is the Sabbath. And I always wanted to have a meeting that we did on the Sabbath. So this this works good for me. So everybody just say hi, let us know how you're doing. If anybody's got anything they'd like to share while I get the thing up. And let's see, Iris, where are they? Oh, you're a rose today. Oh, I love that picture. Oh,
I'm a rose today. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sweetheart. Will you pray us in, please?
Yes, I'll pray us in. So, I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, I'm going to put the we're on finally the last miracle principle. And I think maybe the 49 and 50. Yeah, I know I'm doing that. It's telling me I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. So miracle principles 49 and 50, they go together pretty well. So let's just, why don't we read them both? Who would like to read them? And then we'll talk about 50 or 49, whichever. Who would like to read? All right, Brooklyn, please go ahead, my dear.
Namaste, mighty companions. 49. The miracle makes no distinction among degrees of misperception. It is a device for perception correction, effective quite apart from either the degree or the direction of the error. This is its true indiscriminateness. It's all the same.
Yeah. And so it makes no distinction among degrees of misperception. Yeah, we're all wrong. It's all misperception, and the only way that we can correct our perception is through the miracle. So no matter what it is that appears to be happening, this gives us a tool that we can use. And of course, how many of us expect or use the miracle as a tool? But that's what it is. It is the tool that whenever, what's going on, I'm really upset, things are scaring me, something's wrong with my family, something's wrong with my body, something's wrong with my bank account, something's wrong with my car, something's wrong with my country, something's wrong with my world, all these things where we're looking and saying something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. The miracle says, hey, I'm here. I'm the solution to all that. Something's wrong with this. I'm the solution here. I'm here. And we're like, well, I don't know what to do. And I think I better condemn this and support that and fix this and break that. And, we have all these ideas of what we need to do to make right the world. And Jesus is very clear. This is the only thing you have to do. Ask for the miracle. And expect the miracle and be the miracle worker by perceiving and the way to actually do this to stop looking at the crap and to stop judging what you see. Stop looking at it, stop judging it, stop thinking about how you would make it better, or why are they doing that, or they're wrong and I'm right. Stop all of that judgment of what you see in the world and just accept it as it is, knowing that it is a perception and it is incorrect. And it can be corrected through the miracle. That's all you have to do. Brooklyn, please go ahead.
I just have an example that happened right now. I, matter of fact, have a story that happened right now. You know, I cleaned the story about my closet and I had 5 bags for the church. So I put them all down in the lobby. They were supposed to pick it up today. I get a call from the church. They got my address wrong. So I correct the address. You know, I go down to wait for them, but then I realized, wait, I have a Zoom. I better come up. So I called the church and they said, they already left. They have to reschedule for Monday because, you know, they got all this rigmarole. They got to go through the red tape. And, you know, the bags are down there. And I thought, oh no, you know, but then I thought, okay, okay. This is, you know, it's okay. It's okay. And I just wanted to share that. It's all okay.
That's beautiful, Brooklyn, because yes, that is, it's all okay. That you don't know what anything is for. And all you know is that you had an idea, you had inspiration, you put those bags down there, you had a thought, you were giving a gift to somebody, you know, something else is going to happen. Maybe someone will come along and say, hey, I need this. You know, we don't know. Or, I mean, we just don't know. And so to just say, okay, and not think I have to run down there and get those bags now because, you know, it's going to be a mess. Just let it go, let it be, and see what happens. And we can be surprised. Glorian, please go ahead, and then Iris right after.
Yeah, I love what you said there, Lynn. It's very important about just giving up the nonsense and recognizing that any choice that we think we're making in the illusion is for the betterment of the ego. And it's really nothing. In the end, it turns out to be nothing. So where he says here, perception correction, we accept through the miracle our state of grace of being spirit and recognize that the choice has already been made. And in that recognition and acceptance of yourself as being this consciousness, then you can step back and see that any like feelings or thoughts that you might have is part of the misperception and has absolutely nothing to do with the Son of God at love's extension. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Glorian. Iris, please go ahead.
I love what everyone shared so far. And I was listening to like Course in Miracles audiobook, which is my latest solution for reading the text. And I'm just absolutely delighted that there's something called A Course in Miracles audiobook that reads it to me. And there's this sentence that I came across. There's like quite a few sentences, but this one sentence says that, I'm just going to read it. It says, both miracles and fear come from thoughts. Both miracles and fear come from thoughts. By choosing the miracle, you have rejected fear. And when I read that, it reminded me of that lesson that we spoke of last week, which is, let me recognize my problems have been solved. And that the problem and the solution lies in the same place, in our mind. And what Brooklyn shared really showed me that is true, because there's one part of the mind that's saying like, oh no, you know, this and this and this, and then there's the other part of the mind that says it's okay. Everything's okay. It's absolutely perfect, exactly the way it is. And I'm not going to be a critic of how God is doing everything. I'm not going to let me not be a critic of God today. There's that lesson that says that. And when I take that path of it's okay, even if I don't understand, it's perfect the way it's happening, because it's perfect the way it's happening because it's happening right now. And like that is the easier, softer way. And the other way is the way of fear, like, oh no, like big story, and that is the way of resistance, quote, or fear. And this sentence says that, I'll just read it again. It says, both miracles and fear come from thoughts. So both the thoughts are in our mind at the same time, except one is very loud and the other one is very quiet. By choosing the miracle, you have rejected fear. And the other thing I noticed this week was that fear is when Iris is doing, quote, her will, that is fear. That is, I'm going to put that word there, that is projection. Like the world that Iris has made in her small mind. But when I surrender small I into the big I of God, there is nothing to fear. When our will is one right now, then there is nothing to fear in the truth, because spirit is in a state of grace forever, and our reality is only spirit. And I've been thinking of these thoughts, and like what we have been sharing reminded me, and there is peace in that. When I surrender, whatever it is, like I surrender into the will of God, whatever it is, then I feel quiet in my mind and my body, and I just feel peace. And yeah, and I'll hand back to Lynn.
Yeah, the wow. Thank you for that, Iris. That's you just described it. I mean, that's it. That's the path. That's the way it goes, right? When we come to the place where we recognize that nothing has gone wrong and there's nothing to fear, that's the miracle is working. How do you know? How do you feel? If you feel joyful and unafraid, then you know that you're listening to the right voice. And they're both they're both in your mind. It's right. That's right. They're both thoughts. There's a thought of fear, and there's a thought of love, and you can choose either one of them. And that's really all he's talking about, is allowing the change to occur, which comes from letting go of my desire to have things my way, my desire to have things a certain way, even if I think it's the way everybody else thinks it should be too. Because we get into that trap of yes, the world tells me that I have to go get a college degree because I will never be anything without one. And so, I do everything I can to go and get a college degree, thinking that that's going to make me something, but it doesn't, because I get out into a world where there's people with PhDs who are getting the job that I want. Now I have to go back to school and get a master's degree and then get a PhD so that I could, fit in or be good enough. And it's all a belief. It's a story, and it has nothing to do with my value as a human or what I am. But it's this perception of what should be, how things should be. And God does not know what the word should means. Should has no meaning in God's mind. God only knows what is. So, and that is true indiscriminateness. I love that word, indiscriminateness. All right, Brooklyn, please go ahead.
Shoulds are bullies.
Yes, that's it. So the only thing that should be is that we are what we are. That's what we are, is what we are. So miracle principle number 50, who would like to read that and talk about what that means? The reason I had us do 49, again, we already did this before, but it was because it goes so nicely with 50 and actually kind of tells you how or why. So who would like to read number 50?
I'll take it.
Oh, thank you, Rafi.
The miracle compares what you have made with creation, accepting what is in accord with it as true and rejecting what is out of accord as false.
I think the first question I ask when I read this is, what is creation? The miracle compares what I made with creation. And what is creation? Yes, Glorian, please go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Lynn. The miracle, the shift from fear to love, compares what you have made with creation. Creation is love. It's what we are in truth. Accepting what is in accord with it is true. So the blessing of the recognition of the Christ within, and rejecting what is out of accord as false, the ego and all the projections we see around us. But creation is love, and love is what we are. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, I love that explanation. Yes. And if that's all you did was say, is this love? Then yeah, you would be right there. Audrey, please go ahead.
Hi there. I just have a question, and I apologize. It's from our previous passage read, and about like the world having ideas around education and all this and degrees. And as we were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, for sure, because even my child doesn't want to go to further school, and he doesn't have to. But then I thought, but isn't it okay if others are appearing to do that? Like, what? I'm confused as to who am I to judge what's happening, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and you know what, Audrey, you just hit the nail right on the head, because yes, that's exactly what this just said. Let things be what they are and don't judge them. So, if other people think that, they can think that. If, we have a lot of people that think certain things. People think, if I get the COVID vaccine, then, I'm doing a good thing and I'm a nice person. If I don't get the COVID vaccine, I'm standing up for my truth, and I'm, I don't believe COVID is true. Or, the world is full of all these different thoughts of, is this good or bad, or this better or worse? But our job is not to look at those things and say, yes, you're right, no, you're wrong. You're kind of right, but you're on your way to being wrong. Whatever it is that we're judging, it's not up to us to look. It is up to us to be completely indiscriminate and to look only at the love. The people that think they need the vaccine is because they love. The people that think they don't need the vaccine is because they love. It all comes from the same place. It's just being expressed in a different way. And that's the problem. We get upset about the expression when we forget about the actual motivation or the actual thing that's happening here. So you bring up a good point. We don't judge what other people are doing. We know that whatever they're doing, it's the right thing for them, because it's leading them to find their own truth. No matter how silly it may seem to you or to me, it does no, I'm not the arbiter of truth. My opinion really has no meaning in that case. Wayne, please, it's good to see you this morning, my friend. Go on ahead.
Oh, hey, what's going on? Number 50, as a miracle compares what you have made with creation. What you have made implies to me ego, and the creation is Christ. So you have this Christ of the ego going on, and then accepting what is true and rejecting the false. It's cool, because what it says to me is simply looking at it, looking at what's there, and just seeing the false and seeing the true, and then that's it. No judgments. Just looking at it and seeing what's there, and then observing what's there, and then it lightens up. And then so it's looking at your life with Christ, this creation, with looking at your life, and then seeing it as the creations, finding the creation there, as opposed to what you have made, following Christ and following the creation instead of the ego. Because it says, and rejecting what is as false. So just rejecting it. It's not a matter of judgment. It's just seeing looking upon your devastation, which is how it's also put. So it's a lot compact in there in those 3 lines. So it says it says it all almost.
Yes, yeah, you're right. It is the same thing as nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. You're right, it's the whole thing right there. Thank you, Wayne. All right, Iris, please go ahead. Oops, Iris, are you there?
Oh, sorry, Lynn. I was on mute by mistake. And I was just remembering what we were saying about the conversation about some people would like to get a degree, or some would like to go and get a PhD, or and I mean, I've been thinking about this almost my whole life, like the laws that the human beings make up. These are human ideas, quote, laws. And the laws in one country, quote, are completely different from the laws in another, or the laws in one culture are completely different from the laws in another. So for example, in some traditions, they would say that, oh, a girl does not need to be educated. The only things that a girl has to do is just get married and stay at home. And in some other cultures, they say that it's very impolite to walk on the right. Like in UK, we have that if we are on the London Underground, we have to walk on the left, and the other people have to walk on the right, so that we are not bumping into each other in a very crowded place. And these don't make us good or bad. They're just human laws. And our society, quote, human society is full of this crap, yeah? And if I'm going to just judge myself based on these human laws, I'm going to be living in a state of fear the whole time. But it's up to me to like discern, like it's more easier for me to walk in the right because everyone is walking in the right. So why would I walk on the left? Like, it doesn't matter which side I walk, but I will walk on the right so that I'm not being like blocking the traffic. But the problem is that when these types of ideas become fanatical, like, you know, in the Bible, in the Pharisees, they are a little bit fanatical, very fanatical. And they forget, like, you know, what we truly are. And in like the kingdom of love, these laws are completely meaningless. In fact, there's that lesson that says that I am under no laws but the laws of God. And that just completely frees us from this nonsense, you know, that I am a really bad person if, you know, I walk on the left instead of walking on the right. And for me, this has been like a massive area of like thinking, because like the culture that I grew up in was very judgmental, quote. And it was very like, if you do this, then you're good. If you do this, then you're bad. Like, and I kind of rebelled against that whole thing, because I was like thinking in my head, I don't think God thinks like this. You know, this is just like human stuff. And why is it that in this culture it's like this, but then in like the Western world it's completely different? Like, and but now, before I used to feel very guilty, but now I just feel like my mind has been completely freed up. And thankfully, like, you know, most of those ideas, I don't even think that they're at all relevant. And like, I just kind of I was reminded of that. And yeah, and I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you for that, Iris. Yes, that is so true. And did you grow up in Kenya? I don't think did you, or I know you're from there, and I'm sure that that was a much different experience than most of us have growing up.
Yeah, like in Kenya, and then like my family is very traditional. And it was very confusing in the beginning. I mean, I really suffered a lot, quote, suffered. Like, I thought I was really just the worst person on the planet. Like, but now I just think like, actually, I don't have any thoughts about it, but I do know for a fact in my soul that God doesn't think like that, because God's thinking is just not so small. He doesn't think like a human ego. God's thinking is broad, all encompassing, like love. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. And with just those thoughts, I felt so much better. And yeah, and I'll stop like chatting. So I'll hand back to Lynn.
Oh, thank you so much, Iris. No, that's just delightful. It is just delightful because, yeah, I think we all started with I don't think God thinks like this. That's when I read the course, it was such a relief. I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't think like that. So yeah, wow. Glorian, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for that share, Iris. I think we all, like Lynn just said, we all feel that way, that God doesn't think like this. And it gives us the opportunity then to look for what actually we find God. We're really looking for what God is saying, and we only find that by looking within. When you were talking before about judging others in unfoldment, Lynn, it was coming to me that all of that is just projection. All judgment is projection. So when we're judging others' unfoldment, it's to keep us separate. And then the word comparison. Comparison is always specialness, and all specialness is the ego, which is actually present to keep us separate from the Christ within. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Yes, exactly. And this is really all we're doing is, we're either finding the Christ in others and the Christ within, or we're looking at sin. And that's the miracle says it compares what you made with creation, with love. So this is exactly what we're being asked to do, and that we have the opportunity to do at all times. So does anybody else have anything to say about the miracle principles? We got through all 50 of them. And it's interesting if you have other, like the original edition or the sparkly edition, there are more miracle principles in there. And the reason that there are only 50 in the FIP version is because Bill Thetford said, 50 seems more manageable. And so they kind of combined them all into the 50, and then they put some of the other stuff in other sections too. So a lot of it is if you have different ones, it may say something different, but it's all the same thing. Really, there is no difference. So I guess we're ready to move on to the next section. And here we go. Revelation, time, and miracles. All right, so this is great. These early discussions, and I don't think, there's a lot of people that say, the first 5 chapters, Helen really didn't have a clear way of hearing, and she was confused. And so these first 5 chapters don't flow as well, and they don't, but they're pivotal. The stuff in these first 5 chapters are like the basis of the whole metaphysics of the course. And so, here's where we begin hearing how things really are, rather than what we've been experiencing them as through our lives. So I think that this section here, especially when he talks about time, but all of it is essential to really understanding the Course in Miracles, and to being able to work within the framework of the course, and to actually be a miracle worker. So who would like to read paragraph 1 of Revelation, Time, and Miracles? And I bet this is about as far as we're going to go here in this, because this first paragraph is the doozy. Anyone? Bueller?
I read, but, on Saturdays I don't share, I just listen.
Well, you can, well, you know what? You're going to read and listen. Listen to what you read.
All right. Revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. It reflects the original form of communication between God and his creations, involving the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships. Physical closeness cannot achieve it. Miracles, however, are genuinely impersonal and result in true closeness to others. Revelation unites you directly with God. Miracles unite you directly with your brother. Neither emanates from consciousness, but both are experienced there. Consciousness is the state that induces action, though it does not inspire it. You are free to believe what you choose, and what you do attests to what you believe. Wow. Thank you. I'll start listening.
That was a comment. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, who has something to say about this? Glorian, please.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Revelation induces complete but temporary suspension of doubt and fear. And revelation is inspiration, that moment when we're quieting the mind, stepping aside and accepting the miracle. It reflects the original form of communication between God and his creations, which is love, being the extension of love, involving the extremely personal sense of creation, sometimes sought in physical relationships, oneness, Physical closeness cannot achieve it. Bodies don't exist. So it's the light beyond that concept, the oneness that joins. Miracles, the shift from fear to love, are genuinely interpersonal and the result in true closeness to others. So like the ark is entered 2 by 2, beyond what we see in the body, we see the innocence and the Christ within our brother, and that's the joining in the oneness. Revelation or illumination, inspiration unites you directly with God. Miracles unite you directly with your brother. You're seeing them in the truth of who they are. With God, we're in a state of receptivity where we're receiving the messages of the Christ, and it's temporary. Miracles unite you directly with your brother. So from that shift from fear to love, from outside of time, we recognize our brother as he truly is, in innocence. Neither emanates from consciousness, but both are experienced there. So the idea is whether we're going to have a lower form of consciousness, which is misperception, the ego presentation, or whether we're going to be in the state of true consciousness. And this is an infinite way thing. Consciousness is the state that induces action, though it does not inspire it. Consciousness is who you are in the true sense. You are free to believe what you choose. So we're offered that freedom. So we can either stick with the misperception, the fear of the ego, or we can accept ourselves as the Christ in the moment now, in the miracle, which is that holy instant where we receive it. And what you do attests to what you believe. So if we're accepting ourselves as the ego, then we're projecting outside of us the judgments, the fear, the illusion, all the crazy. Or we can project out there the truth of our being and see the reality of the Christ beyond all concepts. Thanks.
Thank you, Glorian. Yeah, man. And you're free to believe what you choose, and what you do attests to what you believe. So you can say a lot of things that you believe, but your actions do speak louder than words. And so that's, I mean, you can look at, whatever. Well, you can say what you believe, but if you're doing things that are in opposition to that, then you really know what you really do believe. It's very clear. Corinne has her hand up, and then Sharon after that. Go ahead, Corinne.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm just so happy that I joined earlier before this one to the last call where you were reading about Helen's choices, because it's going right along with this to me. It's like I'm putting the two of them together, and I'm seeing where she started to have a change of mind about certain things, like having to comb her hair, which was probably, something that was imposed upon, that we impose upon ourselves based on our traditions or whatever, having to, and I related to that one with the black, what do you call that, black head on the face. When you take it, when you squeeze it, it leaves a hole there. And then she was used to doing that, obviously. And then she had a series of things that she decided not to do. And now I'm not sure if those things were like a willful decision or just a grace or how it happened, but the choices were made. And then I think after all of these, if I remember correctly, the next day or later, she got to see her husband in a totally different light, which there I see a miracle there. That all of a sudden, everything was just very, very peaceful until eventually the chatter mind came back on again. But I'm just good, happy to be able to see that the miracles and all these things that we're reading, how it's coming together for me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. And I thought I was thinking the same thing. I really was. I'm like, this is what we were just reading about Helen. This was her thinking. This was what was going on in her mind. And she recognized these things. This is absolutely something that she was inspired, absolutely, and didn't even recognize that was what it was leading up to. So it's so beautiful. Sharon, please go ahead, and then Wayne right after that.
I wanted to thank Iris, because what she was sharing today was so helpful, because we do condition the conditioned mind believes, the human laws. The human laws is what really hurts us, and we don't even see that because the conditioning. But what I saw, and the way she was, Iris was explaining it, was just beautiful. So thank you, Iris, and also Gloria and Corinne. All of your sharing, it's been so helpful for this mind. Gloria, and the way you spoke just now, it was just gorgeous. What I've been doing is listening again to this stuff because, as we know, it goes deeper each time. And what I did this morning, which was something Iris was saying she was listening to, I listened to the audiobooks of A Course in Miracles too. And this morning I was just guided to go to the beginning lessons. And what's so funny is those beginning lessons tell you, you're not seeing anything. You're just seeing your thoughts. And that is it. So I'm imagining this character that's speaking. And, I think I shared the other night in the manual that the Eastern teachings don't cover this. This is so important because the lessons just brings me to a place of nothing happened. Nothing. I'm just looking at absolute nothingness and believing that it's true, this mind that I'm in. So I just think this is a beautiful group. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that very much too. I absolutely appreciate you appreciating everyone too. Wayne, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just very quick. I was having trouble trying to figure out what it means that, if I'm in love with somebody and I want to get closer to them, I'm trying to figure out what it means that you can get closer to them. But how do you get closer to them than sex? I mean, I can see if you're not in love with them, then it's kind of shallow. But if you're in love with them, there's not much of a way to get closer to them than sex. I'm going to figure it out. And then there's something, my mind went to somebody that I was very intimate with, but we didn't ever have sex. And it kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And now I think back on her, and I loved her more than anybody. So I never thought of it before. And I always wondered about that. And then it's just in this moment, it clicked that the person I loved the most was somebody that we had what we call a very unique relationship, because we never, for reasons that are somewhat complicated, we never had sex. And our relationship grew in an extremely intimate way that I wouldn't have probably grown if we had sex. They would have probably just turned into a relationship that was somewhat normal, or I guess, or average. So it's just very something I feel like sharing. So interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for that, Wayne. And yeah, think about it. A lot of people think that, having an intimate relationship with another person is kind of the pinnacle of relationship. But unless you're like me, I'm, what you call it pansexual. I don't think about anything when I'm attracted to a person. I'm not attracted to their body or their form or their anything. I'm attracted to the mind of the person, and that's to me the biggest turn on of all is that connection and relationship, and that doesn't matter what or who they are. It's all the same. So for me, I kind of always have been that way, but did spend a lot of time thinking that getting close to people physically through all sorts of ways was really, really joining. But as the course is really clear, bodies cannot join. Bodies cannot join. They are made to be apart. You could join seemingly for a moment or two, but actually you'll never, ever, ever be a part of another person's body. Even if you're, a baby in the womb of your mother, you're still a separate body of your own, and will never, ever be joined, because it's impossible. But minds can join. And so the miracle, I think, is that genuine interpersonal closeness, true closeness to another. That is the miracle that comes from uniting directly with your brother. So, I mean, and I think, for me, being open-minded in that, and being open-minded in that, meaning that I don't have any expectations out of anybody to be a certain way for me to be happy, or to love them, or to feel loved. I really am, strive anyway to be unconditional in that desire to connect. I want to connect with everybody all the time. And I think, there's some people that like, I know Rafi, I always feel, Rafi, that, your disappointment when you didn't get to connect is because connection is orgasmic to me. Having true connection with another person or group of people is the greatest connection I can have. So anyway, thank you for that, Wayne, and thank you, everyone. Glorian, please, I'd love to hear what you have to say, and Iris then also.
Yeah, thank you, Lynn. Part of what you said there is so important. Well, all of it is important, but the part about making no demands, to really reflect on that, in that making no demands on anyone is truly blessing them. But what I was going to say was regarding what Wayne said about sex, or whatever it is that we project outside of us, sex, food, or anything else that we enjoy. It's really neither good nor bad. It's, what meaning does it hold for us? And it's God's meaning unfolding to us what we put out there. So there really isn't anything good or evil. There's only God's love unfolding. And I think that's what I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Glorian. Yeah, that's it. It's all God's love unfolding in whatever way. Iris, please. I'd love to hear what you have to.
Yeah, I really love this subject. Thank you, Wayne, for bringing that up, because and thank you, Lynn and Glorian, for sharing, because it's so true. Even in the case of just say in my case, someone who is a very, very, very dear friend that passed on, it would be that this kind of sentence really really is so helpful, because it's true, because there was a time when you grieve that person is no longer here, quote, the person that you connected with, or is your very good friend or whatever, and you kind of speaking for myself, you kind of grieve a lot, that person is not here, quote, in the body, and this and that. But in the course, and all really really true teachings, it says that there is no separation at all. There is no separation at all. And those types of sentences provide a lot of comfort, because to me, because it's I'm not, just because my friend isn't here in the body doesn't mean that, I'm sure there's lots of other things, but I'm connected with that person anyway. That person hasn't gone anywhere. That person is I can sometimes just feel that person in my presence. Somehow I can feel that friend in my presence, and there is no separation. And that provides me, at least for myself, that provides me a lot of comfort. And when I put that note there, about love without condition, I'm very aware that the human love is with condition. like and the course talks about that, and like it's like if that person has to fulfill certain things in order to be like, you know, and if they don't
Hey
fulfill
there, I'm
those,
certified nutritional therapist Kelsey Ale, and today I'm going to show you.
and if like that person doesn't fulfill those things, then it's different. But like I think the one of the purpose in my life, and I'm sure it's the same for all of us, is to learn the way that God loves, like learn that I am love and everyone is love and we are the same love, not different loves. And it's like and it's like a way of like these types of experiences, like this experience was a way to teach me about love, that love is without condition. And just because that person isn't here, quote, in the body, like that person hasn't gone anywhere. And like that, I don't know how to put it into words, but I think that's the closest I think I can explain to myself, like to love without making demands, just like Glorian said, like they don't have to do things for me. They don't have to be a certain way for me. They don't have to turn up. They don't have to be here, but I will, you know, like it's like the love doesn't go anywhere. The love is always here. And yeah, so thank you, Wayne, very much for like bringing that up. And I really think that is one of my lessons, even though it's not one of my favorite lessons. But they say like when we go through these types of lessons, there's a greater blessing on the other side, like, you know, as in like there is no separation and we don't actually go anywhere. We are always here. And yeah, and I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you for that, Iris. Wow. Yeah, it's because the love is the only thing that's real about any of these situations. And for some reason, when you were speaking, I was thinking about, I have a lot of family and friends who are alcoholic, who drink a lot. And something that I came to understand probably at a very young age was that alcohol was a different person. Alcohol was not the person that I loved. And so when alcohol would say things to me or do things to me, I recognized that it was not that person that I loved that was doing or saying those things. And you know, I think that's the beginning of recognizing that only what's love is real and the rest of it is alcohol. Or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, Brooklyn, please, I'd love to hear what you have to say, and then Glorian after that.
Wow. Only love is real. Nothing real can be threatened. I met my I don't know what to I used to say to him, we're from the same nutshell. I met my love in the 12 steps, and it was romance for 10 years. And then after that, well, we, you know, it changed form and we became best friends. We became blood. We spoke to each other every day. And when he'd miss a day, if he didn't tell me, I knew he picked up. He had a hard time staying clean. And okay, but we were best friends. We always toasted to now. During our romance, here's to now. And I was the course student, obviously. And in our blood relationship to now, he left his body and we still toast to now. It blew me away. It totally blew me away when I realized he didn't go anywhere. And we still toast to now, you know? And whoa. Nothing real can be threatened. Yeah. So grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooklyn. I love you. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you too, my friend.
I love you.
Glorian, please, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Beautiful share, Brooklyn. Thank you. I remembered what I wanted to say in reference to Wayne when I was talking about there is no good, there is no evil, there's God's love unfolding, but the recognition that nothing outside of you is your salvation, that our salvation comes only in that recognition of I am oneself united with my creator and that acceptance. And when everyone was talking about, the special relationship and love, and I'm putting this into my book about the healed relationship, and the three main things is one, to recognize no one's interest as apart from your own. The second is to take responsibility for all projections that you make. And the third one is to really truly bless, which is to make no demands and let all things be as they are. So thanks.
Wow, thank you, Glorian. I would love to hear more of that about that. So
I like that, Glorian. Thank you.
maybe someday you could give us a talk on your book and all that. Rafi, please go ahead. And Brooklyn, do you have your hand up again? Okay, all right. Well, don't look so shocked. It's okay. You didn't do anything. Rafi, please go ahead.
Well, a couple of things jumped out at me. First, if it's not unconditional, it's not love. It's ego. If you do what I like, then I like you, and if you don't, I hate you. I mean, come on. But if the love that is what I am, recognizes the love that is what you are, and there is the oneness, there is the joyness, there is the beingness. That's the reality. Everything else is just a lot of ego talk and trying to figure things out, trying to work through things. Is this going to work for me? Is that going to work for me? But the very essence of it, God, love is in me as me, is in you as you. And when it recognizes each other, there's the unity that has always been all of a sudden realized. And that's pretty much the way it works.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's it. That is the way it works. And I mean, we're in this very small community of what are there, 12 of us here that have come together to share this and learn this truth and to join together in this reality. We can change the world, not the world. We're not going to undo global warming. We're going to bring love, and love is the undoing of all the things that we think are wrong. Everything that we think has gone wrong can be brought through that love. So it looks like our time is about up. I'm just so grateful for this group, and we stop the share. Next week we'll go on to paragraph 2 of Revelation Time and Miracles. There's a lot of stuff that Jesus has to say to us about time that I think is going to be really important, and we're going to be able to remember or think about a lot of great things as usual. So thank you all, and you can unmute yourselves and say goodbye and whatever.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Much
Thanks
love.
for all the beautiful sharing. Thank you.
Love you all.
Love you
Because
all.
we are loved.
Big hugs. Big hugs.
Thank you. Love you. See you when I
Love
see
you,
you.
love you. Good to see you, Wayne. See you Monday.
Yeah.
Love you all. Bye-bye.